What's going on, guys? Back again. Everyone liked the first video, so I'm here with Adriana because people have asked me about shoulder flexibility problems. So I want to talk to you about a couple things that go on with some shoulder flexibility that people think is just all in the shoulders, and they stretch the bejesus out of the girl's shoulders when really it might not need it. So something I just want to show you about real quick. So if she stands sideways, the first thing we want to think about is that the whole top to bottom is connected. It's not always just hyper focused on the shoulders. So you can see that she kind of has an increased arch here in her back from a variety of different reasons that I'm not going to go into. We've addressed a lot of those and she's working on them. But because she has this increased arch, you can see that she kind of compensates the other way by having a rounded shoulder forward posture, which is, this is the thoracic spine here, and it's rounded forward. So it's kind of like, because this is arched too much, to prevent her from falling over, she has to kind of round back this way to keep her stable and stacked. So what that creates is that this side of the spine doesn't really move the other way back a lot to extension, so thoracic extension is limited. And you'll see that when she brings both her arms up, a lot of movement should happen here, but it kind of happens all just from her shoulders. So if she brings both her arms up forward, she gets to here, and then she gets a little bit stuck. And so clearly for like bars and stuff and back handsprings, she needs to be kind of back in this zone. She has to be pretty flexible, so relaxed. So if I just ask her to pull it up, you're going to see that she's going to start to go through the motion. She's going to get to here. Not a lot's going to happen in here in the thoracic spine. She's actually going to start to arch and pick her stomach up, and you'll see that they kind of rib flare because this is pretty hypermobile. It moves too much in this area. So if she brings her arms up, you'll see her start to go here, and then she's going to initiate more movement. If I were to tell her to go bend back as far as you can, see how she starts to go here, right? You can see the hinge point we talked about in the other video versus it should really be happening up in this area. We want this to kind of take up some of the load. What we want to think about is when she gets to here, if I put her into more motion, she has a lot of shoulder flexibility there. So we necessarily don't want to stretch that shoulder to be more and more unstable, because if we just keep cranking on the shoulders, not really thinking about what might be happening here, we're kind of missing things a little bit. So we've been dealing a lot with actually core stability work, because if her anterior core is not bracing to pull her up, she's going to go to here and kind of unlock and do the hinge from the other video I showed you. But so this is kind of needs some work for control, but this leads to this needing to be more mobile. So we've been doing core control for stability work here. We've been doing a little bit of mobility work at her thoracic spine, some shoulder blade stability, because if the shoulder blade isn't sitting in a good position, this isn't going to move enough, and this is going to be in a really good alignment. So I just want to show you one quick drill that I think a lot of people do, but they kind of might not do ideally. So lay on your back for me. So just put the middle foam roller. You want to land this foam roller right about at their shoulder blade level. They're going to go just like this. Hands go behind the head, and then you'll see that I'm going to say I want her to open up from this part of her spine, the middle part, and what she typically does wrong, she's going to do it wrong on purpose. So see how her ribs flare out like that? So that's actually not really moving much in the thoracic spine. So if she sits back up, we want to say brace this down, lock the ribs down, and then open up through the middle spine up top, right here. And now she's kind of working on extending back from this type of spine, which is what we want. So we want to have her encourage just to kind of open up through the spine here, press the shoulders here, not this, which is the unlocking of the vert. And you can see the rib flare pump up, and that's really common in people who do bridges, is that they do the bridges and they rib flare and they get that hinge point again. That's not good. But you can see how the lacking of core stability here with the rib flare, we have tight shoulders and tight thoracic spine, and then we get a shoulder blade that's not really doing its job, and then we also get to the point where we're pinching some impingement syndrome right up in here, which is kind of all related, because it's kind of like a compensation up the chain. If the arms aren't moving enough and the thoracic spine's getting there, when she bottoms out on the bottom of her swing and her shoulders come forward, it's going to pinch in that tendon because she doesn't really have good motion here through it, like kind of spread through the entire chain. So don't just look at someone's shoulders and try to just crank on their shoulders. It might not be their shoulders that need more flexibility. It might actually be the thoracic spine, some anterior core, and total bracing core work. Just a piece. There's a lot more to this that I think I could go into in some other videos, but never just kind of stare at one point. A shoulder is related to a shoulder blade, which is related to the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine, the core, just like the core is related to the hip and the knee and the foot and the ankle. And so you got to make sure that we're looking up and down the whole thing and not just staring at one problem. So that's all for today. All right, thanks.